All right, so I'm going to read this little intro to the next speaker, Andre Norman, and then I'll tell you a little bit more how I met Andre. But Andre is really a testament to the power of second chances. And he was a former gang leader serving a 100-year prison sentence. Made the decision to turn his life around and has since dedicated himself to helping others to do the same through his transformational program and nonprofit, the Academy of Hope. His innovative solutions to reducing institutional violence and his experience as a self-taught student earned him recognition as a fellow Harvard University and his featured speaker at institutions such as MIT and London Business School. So with his first book, Ambassador of Hope, and an ongoing effort to spread his message, Andre is a true inspiration and leader in the field of personal and societal transformation. So it was back in 2020. It was when we had the road show in Phoenix, and we had to move it out of California because California was still shut down. So we were in Phoenix, and I called my good friend Joe Polish, who runs Genius Network. And you guys may know Joe through me. Joe is an incredible mentor to me, I was getting started in my business. And so we're sitting at Joe's house at his dinner table, and he's like, "Hey, I got somebody you need to meet." And I said, "Oh, who's that?" And he's like, it's Andre Norman. I said, "Oh, okay, I've never heard of this guy." He says, yeah, he's incredible Genius Network member, true transformational human being, just is such a good person, giver. So anyway, Joe dials, this is the way Joe does. He dials somebody on the phone, and I'm talking to Andre, and he's never met me, I've never met him, and we just started talking, and I just instantly kind of knew I wanted to have Andre come and speak to all of you. And I find his story to be incredibly inspirational, the things that he's had to overcome. And I think the way he's now giving back to society and what he's doing for people is just nothing short of a miracle. And I think you're going to get so much from his talk today. So I want you to all really get up on your feet, come on, and give a great Producers Club welcome to Mr. Andre Norman. All right, very good. All right, thank you. All right, the clicker is up here. Come on.
We're supposed to have different opening music, sir? Yeah. Come on. You know I have it? Whoa, that's a different version. We got to get you the black version. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. As introduced, my name is Andre Norman. I'm the guy on the picture screen, and I'm here this afternoon. I'm not sure why. I'm still fascinated that people want to hear me speak, that they want to meet me and they want to spend time and hear how my journey's transformed my life and other lives, but I just shake it off and show up. So today I'm going to share a few things. One, a little bit about my life. Two, about the work that I do. And three, most importantly, the things that we can do, because the world needs us. And today, it's a great day. I woke up this morning and I have a thing when I wake up. I say, who can I help today? That is my guiding principle. Who can I help today? And I've had the opportunity to help several people today, and my day's not over, but at the end of the day, I will measure myself by how many people I helped and how many people I put into a better space and place. I believe success is not a success without a successor, meaning that if I'm not passing it on, I just got lucky. But me personally, my mom, she married a high school sweetheart. She had 2 kids, my older sister Janine and my favorite sister Imani, and she's actually in my phone as favorite sister Imani. It's not a problem unless I'm around one of my other sisters and they call, and they're like, favorite sister Imani call, and they look at me, I'm like, you should have been nice to me as a kid. She was nice to me, you weren't. So her husband robbed banks, so he got sent to prison. Then after she met my dad, a local hustler, and she had 4 more kids, my sister Naomi, my brother Eric, myself, and my little brother Anthony, who I do not like. We've been fighting for 54 years. Nonstop. And people make the mistake of trying to beat him up, then we both beat them up. They say, Dre, you say you didn't like him. But I tell him, he's my brother. Only I can beat him up. So 6 kids, mom, dad, life is good, except for my dad had a habit of beating my mom. So I'd wake up to screams and to shouts. I would come home to mom with a black eye, and you just get used to it. And it's like, I didn't know that in other people's homes, it didn't happen like this. So I grew up just going through the doors getting kicked off hinges. And if you see me, you think I'm a big guy until you meet my dad. He's 6'6", 300 pounds, a size 18 shoe. I am the smallest of his 3 sons. And it was never a fair fight. And that's what they did every day, they fought. And then one day we got old enough to go to school, and we ran out of that house, jumped on the bus and went to school. And I went to school, and I had phenomenal time. I mean, it was like a room full of kids. It was like this building full of kids. You could just play all day. And then I would come home, I'm missing my jacket. My mom like, where's your jacket off? I don't know, but I had a great day. I come home the next day missing the shoe. She's like, boy, where your shoe at? I'm like, I don't know, but I had an even better day. If I didn't come home missing clothes, I didn't have fun that day. So she didn't buy me new stuff. She got me goodwill because I was going to lose it, and I didn't care. Then one day we're coming home from school, we're excited about having this plate all day, and the bus is turning up the street, and then rocks came crashing through our bus window. And behind the rocks came some names. The first was nigger, then spear chucker, then porch monkey. And rocks came again, and the bus sped up even further. We got home, we jumped off the bus. I didn't know what was happening. I go into the house, I go to my dad, the big guy. I say, Dad, who are these people? Because I never really met white people before. I said, why are they throwing rocks at me? Nobody's ever really thrown rocks at me before. I said, what are these names? I've never heard these names before. What do they mean, Dad? Why are they calling me these names? And my father looked at me, and I looked at him, because he's supposed to make stuff right. That's what dads do. And he walked away. And I'm standing there, and I'm like, okay, I don't get it. And it wasn't until I was older that I found out that my dad grew up in a town called Petersburg, Virginia, about 20 miles south of Richmond. And when he was a kid, he would walk home from school, and kids would throw rocks and names at him. And he got home to my grandfather, his dad, and said, hey, Dad, what's this about? My grandfather told him, that's just the way it is, son, run faster. So when it happened to us, a generation later, he was just twice traumatized. And he left me to figure it out by myself. And I tell you, at 8 years old, I don't figure out stuff well. So I got it all backwards and upside down. And we would just ride the bus, and they'd throw rocks at us. And then one day, the rocks stopped. And one day I came home, and the beating stopped. I came home, my brother said, Dad's gone. So what do you mean Dad gone? I said, Mom put him out. She had enough of the beatings. Single mom, 6 kids, living in the city. If you haven't seen the movie, it's on HBO or Netflix. There's like 100 of movies nowadays. And you just live through it. And you look back and say, wow, now what? And one thing that I looked at about my dad was he never gave me an answer to the question I asked him. So since you're like a smart group, I'm going to ask you. If your kid came home from school and said, Dad, Mom, why are kids throwing rocks at me? What would you tell them? If they looked at you and said, Dad, what do these names mean? I've never heard them before. What would you tell them? Your kid is sitting in your front room looking you square in the face, you got an 8-year-old saying, Dad, what do these names mean? Why are they throwing rocks at me? What did I do? How can I be better? My father didn't have an answer. So I'm just curious, what would your answer be? I just want you to think about what would you tell your child? Because I used to always be mad at my dad for not having an answer, but I've yet to find adults really in real time who had an answer. We bounce around in different schools, different neighborhoods. I go to a new school, they test me, and they found out in the third grade, I can't read very well. They said, that's okay, you can't read. We got a thing called a dummy class. They took me to the end of the hall, they put me in a special needs room, and they closed the door. And it was okay for me. I got to play all day still. And then one day, my dummy teacher took a vacation. I don't know where she went, but she went someplace, and they put us in different classrooms. I ended up in Miss Oliver's room. She came in and said, Andre, sit down, because I'm jumping around having a good old time. She said, Andre, sit down. I'm still jumping around. And she grabbed me, and she slammed me in the chair. She said, I said sit down. And the first thing that shot to my mind is I'm about to get punched in the face, just like my mom. I always knew I was going to get punched in the face. I just didn't know when and by whom. And she saw the fear in my face, and she said, oh, my God. She said, Andre, I'm not going to hit you. I said, yeah, I know I'm going to get hit now because I heard that before. Then she said, I'm not going to hit you, Dre. And I braced for her to hit me. And instead, she hugged me. She said, Andre, I'm sorry. I said, nah, I heard that before. I said, just go ahead and get it over with. I know my time was coming. I just didn't think it was going to be you. The Miss Oliver did one of the biggest favors anybody's ever done for me. She took me out of the dummy class, and she put me in her class. She said, you're not a dummy, you just learn differently. And she took the time to teach me my learning style. At first, I came to class because I was scared she was going to beat me. Then I came to class on time because I knew she was looking for me. And at first, I used to run to that class because I knew Miss Oliver loved me. And I spent the entire third grade learning my learning style. By the end of the third grade, lo and behold, I could read. And I could write. And she bent down, she said, Andre, this is yours. Don't let anybody take it from you. I went off to the fourth grade, and I went off to fifth grade, and I made it to middle school. I got to middle school, I found out something. We were poor. And I knew because the other kids told me. I didn't know no other reason. They're like, yo, look at you, got dusty jeans on, to make the cool shoes, and they just gave me the business. They just harassed me every single minute of the day. I went to homeroom, and the homeroom teacher said, who here needs a free lunch form? I know what that was. She said, Norman, you need a free lunch form. Your parents are poor. Get up here, sign this form. We can't keep feeding you forever. And back in the days, we had this giant form. There was nothing digital in the 80s. So I go up, get the form. Now I'm the free lunch kid. I'm the poor kid. It's just awful. I go down to the cafeteria to eat lunch. They had these big books they have to check us off in. And one day I came through the line, it was cake. I'm a cake kid. So I grabbed a piece of cake. I got to the end of the line, and the lunch mother said, that's 25 cents. I said, what are you talking about? She said, the cake. I said, no, it was on the line. She said, no, we sell that. That's how we make extra money. We sell cake. I'm like, lady, I don't have 25 cents. She said, put it back. I'm like, are you serious? She said, put it back. I'm the free lunch kid. I'm the poor kid. I got dirty shoes on, and I can't afford a 25-cent cake. Life sucked. I went home to my mom. I said, I can't go back there. I said, I refuse to go back to the school. I said, the teachers are mean, the lunch mothers are mean, the kids are mean. I had enough. She said, boy, you got to get educated. I said, I don't care, Mom. I can do anything. I don't want to go back there. She said, you have to go. What is it going to take for you to go back to school? I said, well, since you asked, right? I bust out a list. I said, I need these jeans. I need this hat. I need this members-only jacket. I need some. I had a list. She said, boy, I got 6 of you. Y'all eat up everything. You break everything. I can't afford that stuff. I said, Mom, you don't understand the pressure I'm under with these people. I need this stuff. She said, if I buy you all that stuff, our light's going to go out. I said, so what? We've been in the dark before. Just get out my room. So I go back to school, and they kept harassing me, and my friend Tyrone said, Dre, we can go to the park after school and sell weed and make some money. You can buy some stuff. I went to the park after school with Tyrone. We weren't really weed dealers because we were little. I was 11 years old. The weed dealers would sit in the park, and when they would sell their weed, when they run out, they'd tell us to run across the street, get like a pack of 50 and come back. And I just ran across the street back and forth. And at the end of the day, they gave us 30 bucks. 30 bucks doesn't sound like a lot of money, but it bought clean socks. 30 bucks doesn't sound like a lot of money, but I could pay for my own lunch coming through that chow hall. 30 bucks doesn't sound like a lot of money, but I never went to bed hungry again. So I was in there. And what I didn't understand is I started on a pathway to negativity. Now I'm coming to school, I got feel a little bit better about myself, and teacher came to me, she put us in the band. She said, hey, Miss Ellis said you're in the band. She gave me a trumpet. So I played trumpet all through middle school. Came time for high school, I'm going to the district high school because that's where everybody goes. District elementary, district middle, district high school. She came to me and said, you can't go to the district high school. I said, why? She said, you have a gift. I said, what are you talking about? She said, you're a gifted musician. You need to go to this magnet school where they can take care of that. I said, no, I'm going to the district high school. That's where we all go. Rites of passage. She said, no, you go, your gift goes, you can make new friends. And she sent me to the magnet school for music. When I got there, I walked into the band room with my little trumpet case. I looked around, it was kind of like this, a room full of nerds. and they looked at me kind of like you're looking at me like, what are you doing here? I'm like, well, don't start, none won't be none. But like the real nerds that they are, they wanted to know one thing, could I play the trumpet? So I took my trumpet out and I hit it. Thumbs up. So I'm in the band, and in the morning from first, second, third period, we're playing in the band, we're hitting the Star Wars, Rocky, I'm gonna age myself, it's okay, I love that. And I was killing it. Then in the afternoon, I hang out with the cool guys. We chase girls, we smoke cigarettes, we skip school. Then one day, my cool friend said to me, Dre, what's that box you're carrying? I said, it's my trumpet. They said, why you got that thing? It's stupid. I said, nah, man, you want me to play with you? I said, man, black folks don't play the trumpet. You can't do nothing with that. We out there trying to get girls, sneak on the bus, and you got this big box. It's ugly. Get rid of the trumpet. I'm like, nah, why would I do that? They said, the trumpet or us. I've been on my own since I was born. I figured it out in the 3rd grade I had to take care of myself. Now, my friends, the only people I have on the planet Earth, just told me, my trumpet or them. I can't go without friends, so I gave up my trumpet. And when you gave up that one thing that kept me on path to someplace positive, I gave it up. Now I'm just in the street all day. I had no purpose anymore. Getting up didn't matter, didn't have to be any place, didn't no recitals, no rehearsal, no nothing. And I spent the next 4 years just drifting. So I woke up in court one day. They started reading off state sentences. 7 to 10 years, armed robbery. 9 to 10 years, armed assault with a shotgun. 9 to 10 years, armed assault with a shotgun. 10 years, robbery. 10 years, armed home invasion. 15 to 20 years, armed carjacking. 15 to 20 years, armed robbery. 5 years for the pistols. I couldn't add it up. The judge said, you got time, you figure it out later. They put me in a van and drove me to the state prison. And they dropped me off. I'm 18 years old at maximum security prison. I'm a little bit scared. I don't know if you've seen the prison movies, but bad shit happens to people in prison. And I'm like, this is not good. And I'm down there saying, oh my God, they're gonna get me. How am I gonna survive? I'm not ready for this. I'm in the hospital unit, waiting to go to the new man unit. I said, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna fight the first person that comes to me. That's it. First person comes, they're gonna know I'm a fighter. I'm not going out without a fight. So I'm walking down the hallway, got my little bedroll. We walk into the unit, and I got my name, we're like 5 of us. And the guy said, yo, Dre. I dropped my bedroll, put my hands up. He said, yo, Dre. It was my man Melvin from the dummy class. He said, yo, Dre, what took you so long? We knew you was coming. He said, we all knew you was coming, man. What took you so long? He said, man, Thaddeus is here, man. Ty-Ty's here, man. You should have been here. And I was like, wow, okay, cool. And he said, we got you. And they called me to the caseworker's office. I go to the caseworker's office the next day. Nice little white lady sat me down. She said, hey, Andre, you got a lot of time. She said, but there's some stuff that you can do while you're here. You can get your GED. You can learn how to drive a forklift. There was a whole bunch of educational classes they don't tell you about in the movies. I'm like, oh, shit, I can do all this? She said, yeah, you can get degrees from college. You can learn all this stuff. I said, this is phenomenal. I went back to you and I called my mom. Mom, prison's not that bad after all. I can get education while I'm here. She said, that's great, son. Do your best. And the next day at 1 o'clock, school time. I'm at the gate. I got my pad and pencil. I'm ready to go to school. Then the homies came up to me. Melvin said, yo, Dre, where you going? I said, I'm going to school. They said, oh, man. They said, what? I said, you got the caseworker speech. So what do you mean? She said, yeah, the caseworker told you can get a GED, a college degree, forklift, and all this other stuff. I said, yeah, that's great, right? They said, it is, but. So you see them guys over there? That's the white gang. When they find out that you're by yourself, they're going to run in your cell, they're going to beat you up and take your stuff. And the caseworker's not coming to help you. See them guys over there? That's the Spanish gang. When the white guys finish, they're going to run in and beat you up and take what's left. And the caseworker's not coming to help you. You see them guys in the back over there lurking? That's the black guys from the other side of town. When the Spanish guys finish, they're going to run in your cell, they're going to beat you up, and when you ain't got nothing, they're going to beat you up again for not having nothing. And the caseworker's not coming to help you. But if you get down with us, we'll make sure nothing ever happens to you. They showed me this big knife. They said, we got you. She don't. I took your little notebook, I flipped it in the trash, grabbed me a knife, and I went to the yard. I was in the gang. I was not trying to get beat, raped, stomped, or killed. And if it meant joining the gang, then so be it. And for the next 6 years, that's what I did. Every single day I woke up, we went to the yard, we worked out, we did the bars, we ran the track, and we plotted, we planned, we hustled, we did all the dumb stuff that you do in jail. I didn't ask questions, I just followed the lead. I need to be safe. So I did what I needed to do to be safe. And that's what I did every single day, just follow the lead. Then I kept getting in trouble, and I got put in solitary confinement for, just being crazy, and they shipped me to the federal system. I spent 2.5 years traveling the country, Pennsylvania, Oklahoma, Texas, Indiana. I went all over the country just getting in trouble. When I came back from the feds, I had this big, giant reputation. I was like one of the top gang leaders in the state. I was a big homie now. I wasn't a little guy. And I got to show you something, you see.
In prison, I'm the third-ranking gang member in the state. I control contraband, I control knives, I control gang movement, I control a lot of stuff. So I wake up in my cell and I'm hungry. And as a prison boss, you get benefits. So I said, I'm hungry. I get up, walk out of my cell. I walk downstairs to the desk, get a guy a head nod. He opens the gate. I walk into the hallway, get to the sergeant's desk, give him a head nod. He opens the gate. I get to central control. I give him a head nod. He opens the hallway door. So I go down this long hallway. At the end of the hallway is the kitchen. I knock on the kitchen door. The guy slides the metal thing back. He looks, he sees it's me. Give him a head nod. They open the kitchen door. Now I'm standing in the prison kitchen. Grills, vats, all the stuff. I turn to the two guys over by the grill. I said, yo, make me a hamburger. Turn to the other guy, yo, go make me a shake. And I'm standing there chilling like, yo, okay, I'm about to eat. And then this guy comes out of the kitchen, out of the back, suit jacket on. He says, what are you doing in my kitchen? I'm like, slow down. He said, well, who are you? At the time, we're gonna go back to the 90s, there was a song out called The Regulator by Warren G. Now, I said, I'm the regulator. He says, well, what do you regulate? I said, if you go home or not. He says, what do you mean? I said, first, all this screaming you're doing is not necessary. We're grown men, we can communicate like grown men. And I regulate if you go home in a box or you walk out of here on your 2 feet. That's who I am. And he heard me and he's looking at me like to see if I'm joking, but I'm not joking. I'm like, dude, I can kill you right now. Understand where you are and who you're talking to, because evidently somebody didn't inform you of what's really going on in here. I came through 5 locked doors to get into this kitchen. Everybody in here is doing exactly what I said, including your staff, with no problems and no issues. You got the problem, and you're trying to get in my way of eating. I'm not trying to be a tough guy. I'm not trying to be over the top, but
I'm not responsible for the tech. Well, what you do when stuff don't work, you keep going. I'm saying, well, long story short, I'll finish the story. I told him, I said, listen, man, I'm just hungry. You're in the way of me eating. And he's looking at me, I'm like, listen, I'm just trying to eat. I said, if I kill you right now, they're gonna put me in solitary confinement. I stayed in for about 7 years. And in 7 years, I get out of solitary and I come back to this kitchen and I get a hamburger then. You'll still be dead. And the question is not, am I gonna eat, but am I gonna eat now or in 7 years? It's your call. You make the decision. I said, you make the decision and just know I'm patient. So the guy looked at me, he's like, man, this man just threatened to kill me 5 times. So he went from there. He walked over to the grill and said, yo, man, make him 2. Then he ran in his office, he slammed the door. He's like, I don't know what I got myself into. And I ate my 2 hamburgers, I went back to the block. He didn't understand what it meant to have inmates run the prison. But I explained to him that I wasn't trying to be a tough guy, I was just hungry. And he got in the way of me eating. So he lived, he never had a scratch, but he had his ego damaged. So I'm running around, I get in trouble. I pick up 2 more cases, they put me back in solitary. My mom came to see me in solitary, I had 2.5 years in the hole. And she said, how did you get in jail? I said, Mom, I'm working hard. This stuff is not easy. And she started talking about my trumpet, she started talking about my programs and the forklift. I said, Mom, what are you talking about? I'm the 3rd-ranking gang member in the state, you should be proud of me. My dad and my stepdad was here. I outranked both of them. She walked out of the division room crying. I said, our mom went soft. It was probably like 2 years later, right before I got out of solitary, I had a situation where some friends of mine had gotten attacked, and I was gonna retaliate against the people who attacked them. But before I could do it, God spoke to me. And God said, Andre, don't do this life choice. I said, God, why are you talking to me? See, all of my life, there's been no God. I said, why don't you go see them people who are praying to you, who got their face to the floor screaming hallelujah? I'm not on that list. He said, Andre, don't do this life choice. I said, when my mother used to get beat to the floor, there was no God. When those kids threw rocks at me on the bus, there was no God. When I was hungry and had to go to the park to hustle, there was no God. When them kids stole my trumpet, there was no God. Why are you bothering me? He said, Andre, there's something greater for you. And instead of stabbing people that day, I walked back to my cell and I sat down. I said, well, if I can't be a psychopath, there's no point in being in prison. So I said, I want to go home. And for the first time, I said I wanted to be free. I looked around at the whites, the blacks, the Spanish, the guys who worked at the church, the guys who worked in the kitchen. Everybody went home, everybody came back. I said, free doesn't work. I said, so I want to be successful because successful people don't come here. I picked a school called Harvard University. So I'm going to go home, go to Harvard, and I'll be successful. I came out my cell the next day, I got the guys, I said, listen, man, I figured it out. They said, what's good, Dre? I said, I'm going home, I'm going to Harvard, I'm going to be successful. It was kind of quiet, so I said it again. I said, I'm going home, I'm going to Harvard, I'm going to be successful. They wanted to laugh at me, but I had a habit of stabbing people. So nobody laughed. Then my best friend pulled me to the side and said, Dre, why you want to go to Harvard? I said, yo, man, this is the plan, man. I'm the plan guy. This is the plan. He said, Dre, you can't go. I said, why? They said, you're black. You're a gang member. You're in the hole. You get in trouble. You can't read. They just kept telling me all the reasons I couldn't go. And as I was hearing them, I wasn't hearing him. I was hearing my friends in the 9th grade steal my trumpet. That's all I kept hearing. You can't play the trumpet, Dre. It's no good. Them or us. So I got rid of my friends. I went back into my cell and I looked in the mirror. I said, what's inside of me that's stopping this dream from happening? And I made a list. I came up with a plan. First, I went back to school and got my GED. Then I went to anger management because I had a slight anger management problem. Then I went to counseling. I went to self-help. And I started doing all the programs that they had. And I spent the next 8 years working every single day. I went to the law library and I taught myself the law. I overturned my case on appeal. And I'm just working every single day. Then after 8 years of working, they said, Andre, you can go home. 14 years total. They opened the gate. Prison, parole office. I went into the parole office. I signed the papers. I walked out there. They said, where you want to go, Dre? I said, take me to the youth center. They said, for what? Take me to the youth center. I went to a juvenile detention center 90 minutes after walking out of prison. I had a room full of young black boys. I said, you're going to jail not because you're black. You're going to jail not because you carry a gun and smoke weed. You're going to jail because somebody hurt you, they let you down, and you don't know how to deal with that, so you act out. You self-medicate / get high because your feelings are hurt. Let me show you how to handle your feelings, and I can show you how to live. And I went every single day to this juvenile center talking to these boys in lockup. And after like 3 weeks, the lady said, hey, there's some girls upstairs. Will you talk to them? I don't know about being a girl. I said, there's some girls. They said, Dre, nobody talks to the girls, and you're a good speaker. Will you talk to the girls? I said, lady, listen, go find one of them church ladies or something. Leave me alone. And she said, Dre, come on. I said, all right. I went up and I talked to the girls. And the girls were 10 times harder than the boys because they don't play basketball, football, sports. They really want to talk. So I started talking to the girls. And we tell young girls that they can't be whole again because they did drugs. We tell young girls they can't be whole again because they slept with 3 or 4 people. But we tell little boys, put on a jacket, you go out and be a king. Get a suit, get a job, you go out and be in charge, CEO. The little girls, you tell them you're marked for life. So I started telling the little girls, you can be whole again. If he can, you can. If I can, you can. I started telling the little girls, you can be great. And I started working with the girls every day. Then I'm going, and then they say, hey, Dre, you're denying people. I said, what do you mean I'm denying people? They said, there's some white kids you won't work with. I said, white kids don't have problems. What problems do white kids have? They own all the sports teams. They own all the businesses. I'm saying they own all the politics. This is pre-Obama. So I'm like, they got everything. They're like, nah, Dre, white kids need you too. I said, man, you playing. I said, man, I work with people in the projects, man. Moms is getting high, doing stuff behind garages while the kids are watching. People are getting shot. White kids got it good. They said, Dre, you don't get it. So to make them shut up, I agreed to go to a white school. So they called the school, they set it up. I pull up to the school. I'm like, yo, Mercedes Benzes, BMWs in the parking lot. I come in the front door, the lady said, I said, your teachers are getting paid. They driving good. They said, that's the student parking lot. They make us park out back. I'm like, all right. They walked me down to auditorium B, because A was being renovated. And I'm standing on stage, and all these little spoiled kids started coming with little collars flipped up, Abercrombie and Fitch. I'm like, it's probably your kids. They come walking in there, and I kid you not, this one girl, it was 3 girls came in dressed in all black, had the black hair, the black makeup, the black lipstick, the black, and they're walking. I'm like, oh shit, they're real. I thought that was always in the movies. I'm like, they're real. I said, they walked and they sat down there. I'm like, what the hell is that? My mother would kill my sister if she tried to do that shit. And I'm like, okay. I started talking to the kids. You know what I found out? The white kids do drugs. I kept talking to the kids. They drink too. They have sex at the white school. One little girl came up and showed me from here to here she had cuts. I said, what is that? She said, this is what I do when they don't listen to me. And I'm still stuck on being right that white kids don't need me. So I said, well, you got dads, we don't, so we got it worse than you. They said, Dad? The guy who sleeps upstairs? We don't call him Dad. We call him the guy that sleeps upstairs. I said, why that? I said, well, he doesn't come to any of my games. He doesn't know any of my friends. He tolerates me. He tolerates my mom. We go on vacation. He spends his whole time on a cell phone like this, talking about yeah in a minute. And he doesn't engage with us. We call him the guy that sleeps upstairs. When I walked out of that school, I learned more than I ever thought I would learn. And I said, never again will I judge somebody or a situation based on my ignorance. If you call my phone, I'll show up. And that's just my thing. If you call me, white, black, Asian, I don't care. I'll show up in Montana, Miami. I will just show up. I have no more whys. It's just where and how can I get there? And I started doing that every single day. Then somebody called me and they said, hey, Dre, we saw you with Ted Kennedy. We saw you with George Bush. Can you come down to Guatemala and talk to some kids? I said, where's Guatemala? They said, well, it's down here. They tried to explain it to me. I didn't get it. They said, well, how about you just do a Zoom? I said, what's a Zoom? It was really Skype back then. So you do a Skype, and we talk to our kids on Skype. They said, what's that? They said, we put our kids in front of the computer. You get in front of the computer. And I was like, I needed some tech friends. Where were y'all at? I was like, how about I just come? They said, we can't afford to fly you down. I said, how about you meet me at the airport? So I fly to Guatemala, and I go down there, and we spend 7 days doing trainings on the ground, helping families, helping communities. People live in trash dumps. They literally live in trash dumps. Babies born living in trash dumps from birth to whenever. It was just a whole nother space. But while I was there, I said, listen, I'm just going to do what I can do, and hope this
You need
works.
to translate. Go ahead.
Gracias por visitar mi casa.
Gracias por visitar mi casa.
Salúdenlo.
Ustedes son mi amigo. Ustedes son mi amigo.
We did a presentation yesterday. There was 30 kids. And of all the kids, she came up to me, she said, will you come visit my house and visit my family? So that's why we're here. And there was 29 other kids that probably needed help. Ain't no question they needed help, but she was like, listen, she took a step forward and said, listen, I don't care that he's kind of big. I need some help, and he looked like the help. And that's what my speech was about. When you get a chance, make the most of it. And she got a chance, she made the most of it. Now, hopefully we're gonna get her in school, get her brothers and sisters in school, and we're just gonna go from there. Cool. You never know what one educated mind can do in the world. Right?
The family
Two
is...
professor. Oh, it's the whole fam. We got the whole fam. Yes, stand up.
Turn back so I can get him in.
This is a new fam. You know what I'm saying? So,
Okay, say
Andre
cheese.
down in Guatemala, hanging out with my new fam, and we're going to help establish a lot more families, get a lot better. They're great people. They don't need to be fixed. They just need some assistance. There's a difference. We don't need to rescue anybody. We just need to help them pay for education, pay for better food and better medicine. There's nothing wrong with the individuals. It's just a matter of the living circumstance. I remember back home when I was poor and we had WIC, we had EBT, we had welfare. There's no welfare in Guatemala. Either you have it or you don't. So for those who don't, we're gonna help them get it. That's all that is. So don't think, oh my God, it's a third world country. It's not third world people. There's only one set of people in the world. And we're all first class. So with that, adios.
Adios.
And when I was down there, the crazy thing was the father came to me and he said, Andre, I just want to say thank you. I said, no, that's all right. He said, no, you don't understand. When my first son was born, I started praying that my kids could be educated. And it didn't happen. Then my second daughter was born and I prayed even harder. Me and my wife just hit the knees and we just kept praying. Then my third daughter was born and we just kept praying. And after the fourth kid, we didn't quit. We just kept praying and you answered my prayer. He said, you brought education to my house. I just want to say thank you. I didn't think I was worthy to deliver a message for God. I looked at everything that I was and I wasn't, and I used to listen to who I wasn't, what I wasn't. I have no business being a delivery person for God. I don't measure up. But to that man in that village, his prayers were answered. And I don't know why God picked me to go, but I went. And I just delivered the message. We brought education to a family, and we helped those kids not have to go the route of extreme poverty in third world countries. And they're doing better to this day. And it's not about how much, it's just about showing up sometimes. And I just showed up. And I just been, for like the last 23 years of my life, my mission has been just show up. I don't know what I'm gonna say or how I'm gonna say it or who's gonna receive it, or you say, well, he's a black gang member from Boston and I'm a tech person from Tennessee. How do we line up? All I can do is tell you my story and trust you're just smart enough to draw the lines. There are no dumb people in this room. There are super smart, engaging people in this room. And you can find a way to take this message and say, where does it line up and how can I apply this to me? For a long time, I didn't think I could or I deserved to. So I played small. I stayed in the corner. I stayed out of the limelight. I'm like, no one wants to see me. I'm an ex-felon. They said, Andre, why are you hiding in the corner? You have a powerful message. I said, but I'm not a powerful person. I'm a small person. I got a history. And they're going to know my history. They said, why are you scared of your history, Dre? Why are you scared to share your message? Because I'm scared they're going to look at me. You're going to look at me. I just told you I was in prison. That's my shame. I can walk down the street in the Brooks Brothers blazer. Nobody will ever guess I've been in prison. So why would I go on stage and tell a whole room full of people about my biggest shame? They said, when you share your shame, you give them permission to share theirs. And when you share your shame and you show that you've overcome it, you give them permission to do the same. So I don't stand here because I like bragging about being in jail. Some of you are trapped in something. Some of you aren't playing big enough. Some of you are just like, I don't know what to do. And is it possible? Well, if I can go from a 105-year sentence locked in a basement to working at the White House, what can you do? You have a room full of people who are highly educated and motivated and aside from that rich, who can help you. I sat in a prison cell and couldn't read. There was no help. You have help amongst you, but are you asking for help? I came in the room this morning and Robin's teaching the email list. I sat back, decided to take your notes. I'm like, that's good shit. I said, that's good shit. I said, y'all called my sister, you need to be down here. She's upset. I said, yo, we need to be in this room. I played small because I didn't know any better. I played small because I didn't have people in my life that could mentor me and show me the way. I played small because I didn't understand that bigger was reality for me. I don't know what your excuse is going to be, but I'd love to hear it. You can if you want to. And I've been out here and I tell people, oh, Dre, you was a gang boss and all that. And I made it to Harvard. In 2016, Dr. Charles Ogletree called my phone. He said, Andre, the work that you've been doing is beyond anything we've ever seen. We want to partner with you. And they brought me to Harvard and they gave me a fellowship. I got my email, I got a desk. I was like, cool, I'm like really here. I made it to Harvard. And my friends called me, yo, Dre, where you at? I said, man, I'm at Harvard. And they invited me and I didn't have to sneak in. So I got a desk and everything. They were like, you serious? I said, man, remember we was walking the yard? I told you I was going to Harvard. You told me I was crazy. I said, well, I'm crazy because I'm here. Where do you want to be? Where do you really want to be? Because I'm crazy and I made it. You be crazy and make it. If crazy makes it, let's be crazy. Whatever you want to call it, let's do it. But I had to learn something. The first thing I had to learn was to ask for help. I had to learn to tell myself the truth. And between telling myself the truth and asking for help for those areas I was weak in, allowed me to level up. And I was at a conference in 2018, and I'm giving a speech, and a lady came up to me after, she said, hey, that was a great speech. You said you was a gang boss? Yeah, you used to run everything? Yeah, you got hamburgers, right? I'm like, yeah. She said, can you really do that? I said, lady, I lived it. What are you talking about? She said, no, we just had a riot in South Carolina. We need that guy. Not the guy with the blazer, you're gonna have to leave that. Can you come to South Carolina because we need you? I said, lady, I got about 20 corporate speeches. I'm about to be on a bunch of platforms. They're flying me around. They're feeding me great. I'm going to the steakhouse tonight. You know that, right? I think I'm on tap for the steakhouse tonight. You talking about go to prison in South Carolina? I said, you done lost your mind. I got a great life. Why would I go back to prison? She's like, Andre, people need you. I'm like, no, other people need me too. I'm cool with white people who do tech. I do not need to see nobody with no scar on their face and a knife in their belt talking about, Urgh. I'm cool with that. I live that. She said, Andre, where's your commitment to the work? Where's your commitment to the people?
First, we turn to the bloody violence that broke out Sunday night at a maximum security prison in South Carolina, leaving 7 prisoners dead, 17 others seriously injured, the deadliest prison riot in the United States.
So after the Lee riots, which took place on this yard, we lost lives, and we never want to lose lives of anybody. We were looking for something different. And when I met Andre, I said, you know, I believe in these men. I believe that they can change. I believe if we give them hope, if we give them a future, that they can change the prison culture.
SCDC confirms that shocking new video obtained by WIS shows an inmate at the Lee Correctional Institution attacking a guard with a makeshift weapon. But as the attack continues, you see another inmate step in and intervene, saving the lieutenant's life. According to SCDC, both the guard and the inmate who intervened were stabbed multiple times, but are expected to be okay, and because of that, Director Brian Sterling says he believes the Academy of Hope program has served its purpose in a big way.
Can't think of a bigger deal than saving someone's life. I mean, literally, this is a different conversation if it's not for the Academy of Hope and not for that offender.
Academy of Hope is a one-of-a-kind program. No place on the planet does it exist, because no place on the planet did they think we could exist. But now that we're here, we're gonna take this movement, we're gonna embed it in people's heart and let them know our biggest gift to the prison system is twofold. We show inmates the possibility of holding on to their dream. And we teach the staff the reality of their wrongness by thinking we can't ever become something great.
What Andre is trying to do with Academy of Hope is trying to get them to transition from the inside to the outside so they can become productive citizens. What he's learned in and out of prison and being able to share that through the Academy of Hope and that platform gives him an opportunity to really make a difference in other people's lives based on his own personal experience. And so to me, that's authentic, that's real, and he is real.
Academy of Hope wants both sides to sit at the table and say, how can we make this better? The solution's with us. There's nobody out in society, there's no PhD, there's no doctor, there's no police officer. This is a corrections problem. COs and inmates, we can fix this. Nobody understands prison like we do. They think they know, they read a book or saw a movie. Until you've been back here behind this wall for 24 hours, 7 days, you don't get this. It's a whole nother world.
So Dre calls me one day and he says, listen, we're gonna do this thing in South Carolina prison system. So I was like, what is it? We're gonna take the most violent offenders in South Carolina. We're gonna take gang leaders. We're gonna take top influencers, and we're gonna put them all in one block. We're gonna get a dorm to ourselves, and we're gonna go in, and we're gonna change the whole situation. And in that space, what the world said was the most dangerous and unruly individuals, I've saw some of the best brotherhood and family and love and compassion and caring and intellectual individuals in the world.
They took out the violence, and what I mean by they took out the violence, there was no knives. So I never been on the yard where you didn't have a knife. I never been on the yard where you come outside with your shower shoes on. You gotta have on your boots because you never know what could happen at any minute. They took out the violence, they replaced it with education. My environment is what I make it now. I'm around positive people.
Culture, a lot of people don't know, culture is from a root word that means care. In order for you to create a culture, you have to care about individuals. Caring starts from making a safe environment for people to be in. Once people feel safe, they become a part of the culture. Why this is important is because the environment changes a person before the person changes the environment. It's a quote that Inky Johnson says all the time, and I can see that in effect when I move into spaces. We change the culture first, then that person feels safe, and then naturally that environment makes people start to react and rise to their higher selves in the environment.
When I've seen my best friend in the hospital bed with his head shot off because a 15-year-old decided to let a Glock pop off at 2 o'clock in the daytime.
If you don't tap into their value, you're doing yourself a disservice. Because like I said, you'd be surprised, even though you may be a corrections officer, the warden, or even the directors, you can learn how things can get solved by the people you have inside.
When I go to visit the program that Andre works in, those guys are just full of thanks for us bringing something to them that lets them be real with who they are, deal with the things that they buried deep, the trauma that they didn't deal with as a child. They're able to deal with those things now in a group of men who they probably never would have shared those things with. Just that, right now, I see the difference in how this program has helped them. And I feel that if it had not come in and these opportunities have not been given to them, we would still have angry men out there, people who wouldn't talk, who would as Andre would say, kill each other on sight.
So now you can catch me anywhere, where they call me Slick Life for Bubs. You can catch me in the hood with the bird tap in the hood. Some people don't understand, some people understand what it was. They say you know they're my disciples, not a way to think.
At Academy of Hope here, we have our men on deck creating solutions, creating programs, creating tangibles that you can see. The thing that we're missing is your input. Without the collaborative effort, it's going to be one-sided, and it's not going to stand.
Y'all can clap for my video. Y'all don't want to trigger me now, right? You don't want to trigger me. I'm saying, a bad day for me doesn't look good for you. But I went to South Carolina, and we went in, and we made it safer for the staff. We made it safer for the inmates. We helped mothers sleep well at night, that their kids weren't getting killed, and their fathers of children can actually do their time and come home. And when I was down there, like we were talking about COVID hit. And I'm like living in South Carolina, right next to the prison. They said, Andre, you don't have to go in because COVID is real, but if you want to, we still need you to go in because they're still in there. And I was like, okay, and I had to ask myself, I'm not scared of knives, I'm not scared of guns, I'm not scared of words. You can call me names, you can pull out a knife, I won't run, pull out a gun, it's whatever. But if you cough on me, you can kill me, that's different. You touch a surface and I touch it behind you and I die, that's different. I can't see that. This is like the chemical warfare stuff. I'm like, hold up. And I had to ask myself, do I believe that stuff I've been saying, that only God can end my life? I say, oh, only God can kill me. Only God decides when I die. That used to be my mantra. You can't kill me, only God can. So here I am now, faced with something. Do I go in and help people, or do I hide out in my house with a mask on? And I called my team. I said, if you want to, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to, but I'm going in. I said, if this is where I'm supposed to die, because somebody coughs on me, then so be it. It's better I die trying to help somebody than I die an old man miserable hiding out, because I'll never hide again. And I went back into that prison, and I kept going every single day from sunup to sundown, teaching men how to do and be better. And when that CO was getting attacked and murdered, one of our guys went and saved his life because I was willing to risk mine. You pay it forward. And that's what you just have to do. Sometimes you don't know the outcome. You don't know the hour. But you know there's your responsibility to show up and give what's inside of you. So I showed up and I gave all that I had, and I didn't try to script it, I just show up. And I just been moving. Play bigger, they say. CECP, it's an agency you probably never heard of. CECP stands for Chief Executives of Corporate Purpose. If you look it up, it's cecp.co. There's no M. And it's an agency that they hired me last year. I met a gentleman who's actually the president right there. That's my guy. And Darryl, great guy. And we met. He hired me, brought me on, and he gave me a real simple job. My job is to help their clients give away money. They give away, everybody in here has a business, so you're allowed to give away so much money a year to nonprofits and donations. So they said, Andre, we need you to help us. So they hired me as a fellow, and they brought me on to help them. And this is how much they give away. My job with CECP is to help direct $23 billion. These companies generate $7 trillion a year and they're sitting on $21 trillion in assets. I'm not doing small stuff. I don't believe in playing small. I'm trying to change the world. I'm trying to create impact. I'm trying to play as big as I can for as long as I can until I get that call. It's time to go meet your maker. Every single day, my clients, Deutsche Bank, Daniel Foods, Lennox Construction, British Petroleum, Best Buy, Georgia Southern, Southern Company, you name them, I mentor them. They call, they have something they need done to create impact on the ground, I'm their guy. CECP sends me out. So the question is, how did I go from the basement of a prison, can't read, doing 105 years, and come out and I'm working with an agency that's managing $21 trillion? Why am I standing here, a Harvard fellow? Why have multiple presidents and prime ministers around the world called me? because I got tired of hiding. I said, I'm not going to hide anymore. I'm going to show up. And if they're going to laugh at me, they're going to laugh at me. I don't care. If they think that I'm not the right fit, then they won't hire me. But no longer will I hide my talents under a bushel. No longer will I duck and run. And I partner with the right people. I don't know if you noticed on the Academy of Hope, I went and got retired veterans, Navy, Air Force, Marines, of course, and Army, because they teach civic pride. I believe civic pride will change the world when it comes to people who aren't acting right. They don't believe and love the country like they should, like I didn't. I understand not having civic pride. So I bring in military people to teach civic pride as I teach people life's lessons. And that's super important. We're here. And we have an opportunity to do and be better. And I'd be remiss to stand here and say, you know something? I helped a bunch of people in prison. I help people in Wyoming. I help people in Montana. I help people in Guatemala. I help people plenty of places. But what about you? You dress up well. You're well behaved. You've been really nice crowd. I appreciate that. I'm saying, nobody threw anything at me, so I'm not triggered. But I'd be remiss to think that there's 200 people in the room and there's nobody here going through something. It's mathematically impossible that there's 200 adult people in the room and nobody's going through something. You came here this morning, some of you called the house before you left, hey, is he okay? Because I'm about to go into the session and you were worried about your loved one, whether it was your niece, nephew, daughter, or son. Some of you were worried about your spouse or your sister. And you made the call before you came in the room to say, hey, are they going to be okay? I'm about to be in session for 2 hours. I'll check at the next break. Some of you are dealing with some stuff. You don't feel like you measure up. You might be dealing with some addictions. You might be dealing with who knows what. But right now, we're here to learn how to make more money, grow, and be bigger. Well, you can't be big until we get you right. So when I talked to Robin, she said, Andre, there's 1,000 speakers I can bring, but tell them that they need to be better. They're allowed to ask for help. That you matter too. That whatever you're going through, this affiliation, this family, this group is not here simply on monetary issues. We're here for you. Because there is no community without community. And this is a place and a space of people who care about you. You don't bring Andre Norman in the room if you don't care, because I don't show up. If it's only about numbers and metrics, you don't need Andre Norman. There's a phenomenal list of speakers that can come do that. They said, Andre, some of my people are suffering. They don't know how to ask for help. They're suffering in silence. So can you come give them permission to say it's okay? That there's help out there for them, that there's a way out of whatever darkness that they're in, and that they're not by themselves. Don't be in a room full of 200 people and be by yourself. I don't want to walk off this stage and say, you know something? I gave a great speech, but I didn't ask them how they're doing. How are you doing? How are you feeling? Normally, a speaker would finish. I finish at 4 o'clock. I'll be to the airport by 6 and to the next city. I'm going to be here till tomorrow. Because if any one of you have a problem or stress or whatever, you need to just pull up. I'll be right in the hallway. I'll be right in the hallway. I'm not running to the airport at 5 o'clock. I'll be here all night. I'll be here throughout tomorrow morning for the sole purpose for you. I didn't come to stand on the stage. This gives me the chance to help more people. When Robin called, she said, Andre, I said, I get to help you people? She said, yeah. That's what excited me about coming here. She cared about her people. That's you. I know it's like to have people look over me and skip past me, and I'm crying for help, and I just needed some help, and people weren't showing up. So please, please, whatever it is, you got help. You have one of the, you have the greatest interventional outreach person on planet Earth standing on stage. It'd be a crime for you to let me walk out of here. It would be criminal if you let me walk out of here and didn't give me a chance to help you. It would be criminal. And it would crush my spirit knowing that I could have helped. Because to me, that's the most important part about today, that we can help somebody get through their day and do better. And your kids will thank me, and your grandkids will thank me, and they'll never meet me. They'll never know me, but that's okay. I'm not into instant gratification. I'm into results. And helping you matters. We need you to be better, to grow, and to be better. I get calls every day, and I answer the call every time. I'm here. It's my tribe. But Dre, there ain't no black people in the room. They're hiding them. I'm saying, I don't know. Y'all got them on, you got them on virtual or something? Oh, you're right here. Okay, we got one. We're right here. Okay, we good. We got 2. Okay. Is there a third? We get 3. We got 3. Okay, can we get a 4? We got 4. Okay, we got 4. Now he works here. He don't count. You can't slide him into your number sheet. But Dre, it's a room full of white people. Why do you care about them? You should be down in Memphis. It wasn't that long ago, I got stressed out, and I fell off, and I got depressed. I thought people don't care about me, and I quit. I said, I'm not doing this no more. To hell with everybody. And I had some friends reach out, and they brought me back. And they mentored me through my giving up. Then they brought me and they sat me down and they said, we're going to get you started again. And they got me launched. They pushed me back out there, and I got back to doing good, and I got back on track again, back to speaking around the world. And then I got an email from one of my friends, Keith. He said, my wife died. I said, wow. I never really met his wife, and I went to the funeral. And what I found out, the entire 18 months that he was helping me, his wife was battling cancer. Had he told me, Andre, the woman of my dreams, the mother of my children is dying, I need to spend every second with her, I can't help you, I'd have understood. But his wife told him, go help your friend. He needs you. And he showed up every call, every Zoom, everything, and he pushed harder than anybody else. As we say, Keith drove the bus. He didn't just ride on it. And he got me back on my feet and doing what I do best, helping people. And I was standing at the funeral, and she had a room. It was 1,000 people at her wake. It was crazy. She was everybody's favorite aunt, camp counselor, favorite cousin. Then we went out to the burial site. We get out there, and the rabbi said, the greatest mitzvah that you could ever do for somebody is to put dirt on their grave because they can't pay you back. You can give somebody $1 million, they can give it back. You can give them a house, they can give it back. Dirt on their grave, they can't pay it back. And we stood out there, and I like this room. I was probably the only black guy there. I'm getting used to it. And I'm standing there, and they started putting dirt on the grave. And it's raining. It went from rain to pouring, it was storming. Keith left, he couldn't take it, the kids left. And the rabbi said, listen, it's too much rain, we got old people out here trying to shovel mud, and he called the end of the service, and he said, everybody go in peace. I walked people to the car, and I got into my car, and I looked out the window. I got out of the car, walked back over to the gravesite. I took the shovel that was standing there, and I stood there for like an hour and a half, and I filled her grave up. And I took my phone out of my pocket, and I text Keith, it's done, and it's done right. I couldn't leave his wife half buried. And I ruined some shoes, I ruined a coat, got sick, but she stood up for me and didn't even know me. Had she not told her husband, go help your friend, I might not have been there. So there was no way I was leaving her half buried. And Keith is one of my best friends to this day, and I call Nancy, if you ever read my book, it's dedicated to her because she's my angel. A lady who never met me, gave me all the support and love through her husband. Sometimes you just gotta show up. And I'm here for you. I wanna be your angel, if I can be. I had a situation where I was trying to help a father. He lived in California. I said, I'll come to California. I'll find your son. I'll get him in treatment. I know he's on drugs. He said, Dre, we live in a gated community. I said, I'll find him. He said, but he's a white suburban kid. I said, I'll find him. He said, but make it make sense. I said, I can't make it make sense. I just find him and get him into treatment. The father just couldn't make sense that a black gang member was going to come to San Francisco and find this kid and get him in treatment. So he kept saying, let's do it next week. He wanted more information, more data. He wanted more inputs. He wanted more research. He said, next week. Finally, I said, all right, cool. Next week. I got a call on Monday. The son OD'd. Next week never came. Don't judge the help. Just accept it. I don't want to be white. I don't want to be Spanish. I don't want to be taller. I don't want to be shorter. I just want to be me. And I am skilled and able to help you. And I came here to say that you deserve help too. And all the time I talked to Robin, all the time I heard from her, it's all about love. She loves her people. So I came to love on her people too. And in closing, I got a call not long ago from a mayor who works with President Biden, and I'm like, yo, Dre, we need your help. So this is my help for our country, where we are now. I got up every day and didn't care about dying. In my mind, I was already dead.
Even the toughest guys who went through there were affected in ways they would not want to talk about.
I was a prison gang boss. I want you to know that I will kill you. That pen on your table, I'll kill you for it.
The whole Project Life is based around survival. No one ever teaches you how to live. You're automatically taught how to survive.
When I was 15, I was an animal running through these streets.
Ended a life, one bullet. It ended my life.
Home is trauma. Home is dysfunction. Home is just pain. I've been doing jail time since the 7th grade.
You know, Andre had up to 100 years. That's like life.
If young men don't see a way out, they choose drugs and violence.
Because they don't have money. Because they don't have education, they can't get a job.
This is a war zone. Hurt people tend to hurt people.
I'm locked in a cell, holding on to philosophy that's not working for me.
How do I make that decision that I'm leaving this place?
One of the things that inspired me about Malcolm X is he sat in a cell and he made it. Nelson Mandela sat in a cell and he made it. Mike Tyson came out of juvie, sat in a cell and he made it. Those are the stories that touch me. For the first time in 6 years of being locked up, I said I want to go home. And the entire time I've been in jail, not one time did I think it or say it.
He made the decision to be a better man.
And for the next 8 years, I went to programs. Every single day, every chance I got. 90 minutes after I walked out of prison, I walk into a youth center. And I talk to them one-on-one. You right now have a choice to make. You can focus on what doesn't work, and you will come away with what doesn't work. You don't have to learn lessons in the penitentiary.
When we born, we all innocent little kids with that little twinkle in our eye.
The next rapist, murderer, gang member is sitting. He's sitting in the kidney garden hungry, wanting a sandwich and a hug. You don't give him the sandwich and a hug, now you trying to catch him at 16.
We never have somebody that come back to help inspire, bring us up.
No one has ever said, what can I do for you? He came in here and he showed that love, that respect, the attitude of gratitude.
Prison's where people end up. It's not where they start.
I can call him for anything, and he's never left my life.
He made me realize things about myself that I probably didn't know, and I probably would have never been told.
People say you can't help people who don't want to be helped, and that's a lie and it's wrong. There's just a step before that. It's getting them ready to want help.
Treat us like humans, and we act like humans.
I have never stepped back into a prison. I can't do it. He's going there to get him out.
In 1991, I said I want to go to Harvard. No matter what they said, I kept knowing I was going to get there, and I got there. Prison reform starts in kindergarten. We can stop them from coming. If we want to fix our country, go educate people. Educated people make educated decisions.
People like Andre going into the prisons, and they're reimagining how we can produce healing.
Andre Norman created the blueprint to show the world that it can work.